What is up, guys? It is Jake from the Sanctum Squad. So over the past couple of weeks, ever since Pair of the Elements has been released, I've been working on a pretty spicy deck. And I actually played this deck in a tournament this Monday, just gone, like at our locals. I went 3-2, which is obviously not ideal, but it is important to note that in every one of these matches, in every one of the games, I actually comboed, like the deck actually performed its combo. The only reason I actually lost the matches that I lost, it was literally just due to Forbidden Droplet and Dark Ruler no more. And so I've actually took the deck back. I've made some changes which makes it a little bit more resilient to those cards. And now I think this deck is like more close to as it should be. Obviously it's not like I don't think it's perfect as it is right now, but this is going to be P.U.N.K Tearlament Frog thing. It's a pile, you need to see it. So just starting off with the monsters, I've tried to organise this in engines and like importance of the engine in terms of like when you'll use them. So like the punks are usually the first things that I'm going to try and resolve. So I'll play 3 Foxy, 3 Ogre, 1 DRNM and 3 Zemin, along with obviously 3 Italy. DRNM is something that I do want to test a second copy of in this deck, just because it can come up a lot of times where because you play so many punks, it's like not hard to actually get like just DRNM into your hand to start playing. But because as well, like this deck does actually have like different normal summon options outside of Zemin. You can actually do like funky plays as well, where you literally just use DRNM as an extender for Zemin to just special summon it out. And then if you play a second DRNM at that point, you can then search Foxy, and then Foxy can summon the second one out the deck, and then that way you still make your Chaos Ruler. But yeah, these are great. I just want to say as well, like this year for Yu-Gi-Oh cards, the artwork is just absolutely incredible. Like the P.U.N.K cards look insane. The Sprite archetype looks like absolutely incredible. I think Gigantic Sprite and Sprite Blue are like some of just the best looking cards ever. And then obviously like we're in engines, so we play Tearlaments as well. So we play 3 of this good one. Funny about this is that I didn't actually know the rarities of these cards before I went into the sneak peeks, and I assumed this one was a secret. And then when I saw someone open a pack and this came out as a secret, I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, this card's like great. This is the card that made me want to play the tiers, because the first thing I saw was like the mill free. So like, the way that I've built this deck is to try and be like a very like graveyard heavy deck in terms of like you're going to mill a lot of cards, because obviously you get 5 off Chaos Ruler, you get 3 off this, you get 5 off Kit Class, and then you potentially get another 3 off this one as well. So
I think until the Shizu stuff comes out, this is like definitely the most explosive way to play this deck.
Yeah, like some of the boards are like insane. And then we've got 1 Merly, and then I'm trying 1 Rhino Heart as well now. So for our tier package, we play 3 of the one that we want to start with. 1 Rhino, because this is a decent normal summon, but you only ever want this when you don't have ZM in it as a starter. And this is also water as well, which will come up for a different reason. And this one's cool because it's a level 2 Aqua, which is
super concise package, like considering most tier P.U.N.K decks that you see. So
something as well that I really do want to try is that I think it was JY Sharif did this first that I think I've seen. So like in his P.U.N.K decks, he'd actually play a Light Stage, a Terraforming, and a Corobane. I really like that idea because that does make the Chaos Ruler really consistently, and you're already playing a second field spell for the Terraforming. You could even include set rotation if you wanted to be weird. But yeah, that's the tiers and the P.U.N.Ks. And then we've got Instant Fusion as well, just for the Tearlaments.
He's banning, man. Yeah,
this card is actually like, I think this should go just because of the new tier card, and I think the Predaplant card as well was like a sign for this to go. This is the only reason why I haven't gone Ultimate 1 yet, because I want to see Survival ban this first. For the rest of the stuff, so I'm playing Frogs, so these are Aqua monsters, and that means that anytime you mill these, you can actually fuse with them with the Tearlaments. Because Kit Class requires a Tearlament plus an Aqua monster. These are also amazing when you see like how the sort of combos like go, especially with this card. So I'll show you more in the in a test stand of like where these come in, because like at the end of your combo, you basically just get to make Toad Elf for free, and it's mainly just because of what Plague Spreader Zombie does.
How often did the recycling come up?
For Toad.
Yeah.
So when I played in the tournament, I didn't play Reinhardt. So Toad, like the Toad would literally just add back a Swap Frog, which would just be a very sort of like lackluster normal summon.
Yeah.
But now that I've included Rhino Heart, what you can actually do is you can add back Rhino Heart, with your Toad, and then this actually like becomes a one card play next turn. And I'm even trying the big Tearlament fusion monster for that reason. So on the turn 3, the idea is that you're just going to normal summon this, you're going to send a Tearlament. The Tearlament is then probably going to put your Toad back in your extra deck unless you've got like the elf to revive it. And then like some of the frogs, and then you can like summon Kaleido Heart on the like the 3rd turn, and then that becomes sort of like, because it's like a sticky monster, they have to get rid of that card in a very specific way. But yeah, this is now the ideal add back off Toad, just because it is like a 1 card play next turn. Plague Spreader, this card is like ridiculous. So you can summon this card of Hulk before it racks, or you can mill it, or you can open it and discard it through any of your discard effects. The reason why I play 2 is because you always want to have one in the deck for Hulk, because Hulk then pivots into a gigantic sprite using this card, and that's sort of like how you see the frog engine like come into play at the end.
I think Plague Spreader is one of the most slept on cards right now. Like it's just good in like both of the reigning meta decks, and no one seems to be utilising it. Yeah, like it's a really good level as well. So this with Chaos Ruler makes Baronne, this plus Kick Class makes Shooting Riser, which sends Fairy Tale Snow to the grave, which is very nice. I was originally playing 3 of this, but then like I think if you were going to play 3 of this, then you'd want to play like another engine alongside it to support it. I was thinking about Mezuki's and then Ash's and Belle's, because Ash and Belle are both zombies, so you can Mezuki them back and you can Mezuki this back. Obviously you can also play Malicious as well, because this plus Malicious is a Chaos Ruler, which is very nice. Like there is a lot to be explored in this deck. Like we're playing Jet Synchron, so the reason for this is to be another Hulk target outside of this, because like obviously you play 2 of it. This is quite a small deck as well. This is not a big deck, so it's not uncommon for you to see Plague Spreader Zombie outside of your Hulk, and in those situations you can summon this off your Hulk, and then with the Chaos Ruler you can make Hot Red, and then Hot Red can actually come to negate like Dark Ruler Normals and stuff on the next turn using like a specific trap card that I'm playing in this deck. But Jet Synchron, not sure about his future, like about his use in this deck, like in general. I may try just cutting this, and then I might try playing the Psychic M Punisher in the extra deck instead of the Hot Red, because you can actually like make Punisher first with your Zemin and your Chaos Ruler, and then you can go into Baronne afterwards. Obviously, like it is a bit weaker to Nib doing that, but yeah, like this deck is still like we're still like testing stuff. So Fairy Tale Snow is absolutely amazing. Gives amazing use to just being able to make a level 7 synchro, because we can always do that in this deck because of the punks, and then some of the other engines that we use as well. So like even just the tiers like give you level 4 monsters to play with in the form of like the Siren or whatever her name is. So I've not seen any 2 people call this card the same name yet, so I don't know what this card is named, so I'm just going with Siren because I heard someone called it that and it seemed like the most sensible. But yeah, Fairy Tale Snow mainly just here for shooting Rise of Dragon. Online I have been trying electromagnetic turtle as well. That way if you randomly mill one or you draw one, you've still got a good shooting Rise target in your deck. And Turtle is pretty broken because it stops you getting like Zeus, it stops you getting evenly matched and stuff like that. I think it stops you getting evenly matched. I'll have to check that. I don't think it stops you getting evenly matched. Destrudo, obviously broken. Like, so the way that I wanted to put mock cards in this deck is that I didn't want anything that was only good when it's milled, and so I wanted cards that were good when they were like discarded from the hand as well. So just general grave effects. So that's why Destrudo's here. Destrudo can also get you into Chaos Rulers, even in hands where your pump line gets stopped, because what you can do is like, say you've got Zemin on the field, maybe that got negated, and then like you can drop like a level 4, and then you can use Destrudo to target the 3, and then this is a level 4 tuner, so then this and the Siren will make a Chaos Ruler. There's a lot of like cool different things you can do with this, especially if you do include the Psychic M Punisher, because paying 4k automatically makes that card like hard to kill. I think going back to what you said about a lot of the cards, you wanted them to not just do stuff in the grave. I think that's one of the things that pushes this deck over the edge, because it means that if your opponent drops like a D-Shifter on you or something, it just
I'm quite happy to take a loss to D-Shifter specifically, but like, yeah, if they don't drop a card like that, then the whole idea of this deck is that you sort of like flood them with different like little effects, but like there's a lot of them. Now this is probably the copium of the deck, I guess. I wanted to include these cards because I like them. So like the whole point of this deck is not to be, I don't think it's like necessarily like optimal, but I really like this deck because it's a lot of fun.
Crimped hat tricker.
Yeah, so actually this is the one that you found me, the playable one. But what these cards do is that these cards like make Foxy Tune free because they like trigger in the grave. They make Siren free because they trigger in the grave. These are really good to mill just randomly. They help you make rank 4s, which is like Dweller. Dweller is the one card that I was missing when I played in the tournament on Monday, because my end board is it's Elf in the extra monster zone, and then you've got like Hot Red, Baronne, Toad, and then you got like Snow in the Grave. But like there were a lot of times where I had Redo on the end of the board as well, and this is why I was losing to stuff like Dark Ruler, is because that Redo it does nothing. Whereas if that card is Dweller, then Dweller just wins the match, and that's the biggest change that I made, and that's the card that I missed the most, and that's why I lost the games that I did, because I was making Redo instead of Dweller against things like Dark Ruler and Droplet. There were very specific situations where if the Dweller had been Dweller and not a Redoer, then I would have just won, I guess. And then just because we are like milling lots of stuff, I played one Galaxy Cyclone, because if you don't respect Mystic Mine, it kills you. And then we played one Royster Full Height. So this is the spicy card, and this is the card that lets you beat Dark Ruler and Droplet. Like you might want something a little bit more consistent than this, because like this is like just random, like you are like banking on like milling this card. But this card just says that if you like, as a quick effect, you banish it and target a monster you control. So you do it on your opponent's turn, and then your opponent can only attack that monster that turn. But then the whole idea is that you target something that leaves the field. So maybe like you target your own Toad with it, and then when you tribute the Toad off, they can no longer attack that turn. That will also stop you getting like Zeused. It'll just stop your like Elf getting run over and stuff like that. Also in hand, like when you do get like Dark Ruler and Droplets, it means that they actually have to out your board through card effects. They can't just attack over anything. But yeah, I actually side 2 more of these as well, because we did a winner box the weekend and a Mystic Mind deck won, so I'm just not. Yeah, you just can't like not respect that card, right? I'm trying 3 Ultimate Slayers at the minute. At the tournament, these were actually Dark Ruler Nomads in the main, and not this card. I've only just picked these up, so I'm just trying them. I personally think these should be Dark Rulers until this card has proved itself to me that it's better. But the whole point with Dark Ruler is just that it breaks. But the base exploit will go in second, just basically on its own. And then even if you draw it going first, like Winder can appear like turn 0 now. So like Dark Ruler, like you kind of want to draw it even when you go first. The last card was Foolish Burial. Honestly, I'm not too hot on this card. The reason why I'm not too hot on this card is because it doesn't feel good to actually like send any of these cards with Brave effects, except for Damage Juggler specifically. The only reason why I say that is because like a lot of these cards will just summon themselves like out the grave and stuff, and this is the only one that actually gives you an extra card back into the hand. So like this one actually replaces itself in the hand, and that is a big deal for this version of the deck, because obviously we play Plague Spreader Zombie and Jet Synchron. So a lot of your card advantage ends up actually just being like stacked on top of the deck or discarded. So yeah, like Foolish Burial is a bit weird. I'm not really sure if I like it, and it's also just like crap to mill too.
Do you think you'd replace it with like Call by the Grave or something?
Call by the Grave is probably fine. I'd honestly probably just change it for a card that I didn't mind ever milling. Like I might try the Tearlament trap that searches when it hits the grave by card effects, because I think you can also use that to stop Dark Ruler, because you can go like, they go Dark Ruler, you go flip your trap, do nothing with it, and then just negate it with a Hot Red. So that is something that we could definitely try. The extra decks, we play Baronne, which should be like, well, this is the first thing that you make to like check nib basically, and then you want to make Hot Ruler, Hot Red. This is the way that you stop like Dark Ruler Droplets. This like, even though like, that is the way that we're stopping those 2 cards, this is sort of like, very sort of like temporary, because I'm not going to play this card unless I carry on playing Jet, and honestly I'm not really sure if I like Jet too much, because it only gets you into this really. But yeah, like we're in early days, so we'll see how it goes. At the minute, Hot Red is very cool. I do like him. Chaos Ruler, absolutely insane. Shooting Riser, just so that you can send snow whenever you want to. Yeah, and then we got some XYZ monsters. Oh yeah, this deck as well, it also plays Synchros, Xyzs, Fusions, and Links, so even if you get debarried, you should still be able to kill your opponent. So we play Zeus, which is like broken. We play Dweller, which is, if I played him on Monday, we would have won. Toad and Gigantic Exploit. So you're basically always going to make this with Plague Spreader and Hulk usually. But yeah, so like these cards are nuts. We've got 2 elves. This is the only thing other than Kitkilos, which I play 2 of, and it's just so that you can make 1 on the first turn board and then 1 on your third turn just to revive Toad potentially.
I love this card, man. I think it's so.
This card is like broken. I think this is the problem card in Sploit, like the actual like Sploit cards.
Yeah.
I think this card's insane as well, but I think like this one is probably the one that gets hit after Toad if Toad gets hit. And then we play Hulk, because Hulk is someone's plague, and then those 2 make the Gigantic Exploit, and then you win. But Hulk does everything. This card needs to go. Like this card is absolutely pathetic. I played Nightmare Unicorn. I didn't actually play a Link 4. Like there is probably a space in this extra deck for a Link 4, which would be this. So like you probably might want Access Code or Appaloosa, because Appaloosa you can make with anything. Of course, you don't have to worry about any levels or tuners or anything like that. But Unicorn is just very nice, and it gives you like it gives you a removal that isn't like doesn't trigger anything. I don't really like this card's stat. It's like 2200 attack, which is like the same attack as Toad, same attack as Window. So like this won't attack over any of those cards, which is quite annoying. Maybe we end up playing triple burst over this.
Did you end up missing a Link 4 in this tournament?
I don't think I did. This isn't the exact same extra deck either, so I've cut Redo for Dweller and I've cut IP Masquerader to try this card, but like this card is very temporary as well. Like I've not actually played like a real game with this card yet, so I don't know if this is good or not. But this card is incredible. So like when I was playing, like all of my opponents basically just said this deck is like grass, because what you do is like you use your punks and you make a Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler then mills 5 and lets you add 1. If you then like can you continue to your turn and then you summon this as well. This obviously searches for either Merly or for Rhino Heart, depending on how good your hand is. And then she pops herself to summon this, and then she mills 5, and then this mills 3. So like you're milling 13 cards, and so like when you take into account that it is a 40 card deck and you drew 6, like that is like milling almost half of your deck.
Is it bang on 40? Because I know that when we were testing, you were talking about like.
I think it might be a little bit more than 40. I'm not actually sure. So we got 5, 10, 15, 20. 25, 30, 35, 41. So 41 with a Foolish, so fuck the Foolish and play. Which might be 40.
I think one of the things that I liked about that when we were testing it was just the fact that it was only 40 cards, just made it so much more consistent.
Yeah, all your hands are gas. Like if you go first, you should win. So this card is pretty cool. Like the reason why I'm playing this card is because what I felt like happened a lot is there was actually one game where my board just got broken, and I think it was through the droplets. And then because I'd been through all of my best cards, my extra deck was actually just like cack. Like I think I had like this left, and I think I had IP Masquerader left, which like I literally used 13 cards in my extra deck. So I wanted to put this in because this is like a permanent monster, and it's like an annoying thing. So hopefully this like keeps up board presence. But if this card does not like pull its weight, then it will come out for the IP, because I think I already missed the IP anyway. For the side deck, it wasn't very good. It was 3 Nibiru, which I didn't put in. I think I only put it in once against the Despia player, and I just didn't draw it. I put in 3 droplets, which I only put in going second against anything that I thought could floodgate me with a monster, so like Winder. But I didn't really like droplets. We was talking about droplet stuff, just me and Dan were. It's just too costly, I think, in this format. Just Dark Ruler them, it's free. You like just Dark Ruler Zeus, that's the player. Yeah. And then in the side deck, I sided 2 more Galaxy Cyclones just for Mystic Mine, and I sided 3 Twin Twisters as well, just for the Eldritch players that are at this locals, because I think this deck doesn't really like floodgates. Like if you get Rivalry to go, then you probably just die. But yeah, that's it for the deck profile. So I just want to show you like sort of like a test hand with this deck. It's not really going to be a test hand because it's just going to be like ZMing on its own. I don't really want to show you like combos in this deck because like you won't really combo in that kind of sense. You're gonna like all of your lines are going to be based off like mills and stuff, just like any other like mill deck of the past. So I'm just going to show you what like a ZMing should get you just like on its own realistically. So we're just going to use ZMing's effect, and it's going to go and get us a Foxy Tune. Generally speaking, if I have any punk or other punk in my hand, I will try and go a route that goes through Ogre Dance, because one of the only things that you have to sort of like keep in mind when you're performing this, like playing with this deck, is that you need to get a dark monster in the grave, and like because everything else, like you'll always like get like lights and stuff in there, but you won't always get a dark. So you're just going to use your Foxy Tune, and you're just going to send a random blank. Obviously, like these, like you will probably be sending the card that has the graveyard effect, but I don't really want to like show you like the high roll sort of hands with this. So then you're going to use the Foxy just to summon a DNO out of the deck, and then you'll probably guess that the next move is going to be Chaos Ruler, because Chaos Ruler is broken. I think Chaos Ruler probably needs to get banned, to be honest.
Definitely a strong argument.
And then we're going to use these 2 as Synchro material to make Chaos Ruler. And then we're going to go Channel 1 Chaos Ruler, Channel 2 DNO, and DNO is going to target this. Obviously you can revive a level 8 to make a zombie vampire here, but that is not a card that I've like tested yet. I don't really like the idea of using an extra deck space on that card.
It seems kind of greedy almost.
Yeah, I think it's very superficial. It doesn't add anything that you can't already do already.
Plus the fact that your opponent mills 4 as well, it seems very like you need to know what you're going up against.
Yeah, so Chaos Ruler is going to show us 5, so we got these guys. So I'm just like not gonna add off this, and I'm not gonna use their effects either, but I just want to like show you like what would be happening. So like this would go to your hand, and then this would trigger to fuse in the grave, and then this fuses with Swaghog, and then like you can see where it goes. But yeah, I'm just not gonna add any of that stuff. And then like just the standard line that doesn't need RNG to work outside of just hitting a dark monster is like the Hulk line. So then Hulk will summon a Plague Spreader. And then what you can do now is you can revive the Chaos Ruler. and that will banish the light and the dark, basically. Bleh. And then you're going to just synchro these two, so this one will get banished and this one will go to the grave. And you're going to go into a Baronne. And then because Gigantic Exploit is broken, you can for some reason use Halka's material for it. So yeah, so then you detach Blade Spreader, and then you can summon out the Swaghog, and Swaghog will mill Ronitoad. I think there is a frog already in there, so we don't actually need to res. We don't need to use the effect of the Swaghog that we res, but then we use Elf to revive a Swaghog. And then obviously if you didn't randomly hit a frog, or if you actually did fuse with it, then you do need to send a frog. But we don't need to here, so we're just going to summon out the Ronitoad in. And then this makes the Toad. Now bear in mind, this is all like just with ZM in, basically. You will have like 4 other cards and they won't be Ultimate Slayers. The general idea of this deck is that you should have other cards to play with. So this is the very basic board, and then what you try and do hopefully is pot out this and this next to it as well. And then hopefully as well you've hit Snow with Shooting Riser at some point. So like, that's sort of like the ideal board. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the basic board because I don't really want to just like spoon feed you like a broken board like this in a deck that is RNG based, because that's not, it just doesn't seem I don't even know what the word is. What's the word, Dan?
It doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, it doesn't seem sincere. I think that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. But yeah, that's the gist of the deck. I love this deck. I'm going to work on this deck a lot. Thank you for watching.